Welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. I am Norlin Ebel Ami. Let's begin the bulletin by informing you that President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja for Dubai, United Arab Emirates, ahead of his two-nation trip to Japan and Brazil. The president, who was bidded farewell by members of his cabinet, including his chief of staff, Femi Bajabiamila, and National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, took off from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport at about 11:15 this Friday morning. The flight to Dubai is for a stopover before proceeding to Yokohama in Japan. A statement by the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, indicates that the President will, in Japan, attend the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 9, in the city of Yokohama from August 20 to 22. With the theme, Co-Create Innovative Solutions with Africa, TICAD 9 will focus on Africa's economic transformation and improvements in the business environment and institutions through private investment and innovation. In addition to attending plenary sessions on themes linked to the conference, the Nigerian president will hold bilateral meetings and meet the chief executive officers of some Japanese companies with investment in Nigeria. At the end of the TICAD 9, President Tinubu will leave for Brasilia, the capital of the Federative Republic of Brazil, on a two-day state visit from Sunday, August 24 to Monday, August 25. The state visit to Brazil is on the invitation of the Brazilian President, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who is leading a federal government delegation on tour of projects in the Southeast, says at the end of President Tinubu's first term, the benefits of the ongoing reforms will be clearer as the federal government remains committed to transparency, accountability, and delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians. This was at a citizens' engagement in Enugu to reassess the activities of the government within 2 years. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
This platform is a deliberate effort to break communication barriers and increase people's participation in governance through direct conversation between public leaders, particularly those saddled with the task of communicating government messages and the people. Mid-term into the first-term tenure of renewed hope, from the north to the south, the federal government's communicators are physically demonstrating the content of their messages and statements on the journey so far.
Recognizing the Southeast industrial strength, the government of President Bola Tinubu has created 3 key business funds, totaling over 200 billion naira. The Presidential Conditional Grant Scheme, the PCGS, the Federal Government MSME Intervention Fund, and the Federal Government Manufacturing Sector Fund. All these funds are available, and Nigerians, manufacturers, and business startups have been able to access these funds nationwide.
These achievements are proof that when vision meets action, results follow. Under the renewed hope agenda, Enugu State has stepped into a new era of federal presence and development, and we are only getting started.
So government wants to target 1,000 people in every ward and do things to, if they are into all kinds of business, find ways to scale up that business. If they are into manufacturing, find ways to help them to increase volume, to increase value, and make them very wealthy. The idea is that government wants to at least push. If we multiply 8,000 wards times 1,000, that's over 8 million people. The government wants to make sure that they become wealthier.
Participants say they are refreshed and confident of government's critical and impactful decisions.
We also want to use this medium to extend our profound gratitude to Mr. President for all the laudable programs and projects he's undertaking in Enugu State. We want to assure him that at the right time, we will reciprocate.
We thank you for the Southeast Commission. We thank you for the South Exchange Commission. Because you know, we pay attention. I also want to thank you for working with our intelligence government. He came here January 6th, and he said, despite party affiliations, he lost my government.
While thanking our president, please remind him that we have continued to say space for the women. We still say reserved seat for the women.
Traditional and religious institutions, women and youth groups, as well as civil society representatives from across Enugu State participated in the citizens' engagement in Enugu. Salihu Abdullah Higuanara, NTA News.
In a similar development, the investments of President Bola Tinubu in agriculture, education, infrastructure, healthcare and economy in the southeast are the pathways for sustainable development, both in the zone and across the country. Caleb Obona reports that these are the views of the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, and Governor Francis Nwifuru when they interfaced in Abakaliki as part of the minister's tour of the zone.
Describing the renewed hope agenda of the federal government as the only reliable pathway to sustainable economic development of the country, which its ripple effects are visible in the southeast, especially in Ebonyi State, the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, opined, has brought the zone to limelight, which is part of President Bola Tinubu's manifesto.
Yes, Mr. President has the people of Ebonyi State close his heart. Mr. President is very proud to associate with the people of Southeast Nigeria. He will ensure that the people of Southeast Nigeria are in the forefront of this renewable agenda.
The minister, accompanied by the federal government delegation, including the Director General of Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Abdulhamid Dembos, is geared towards aligning citizens with federal government policies and projects. For Governor Francis Nwifuru, the tour is timely, as the progress being witnessed in Ebonyi State are the ripple effects of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
I can say clear that this is the first time we have a project. We say this is the project of ongoing and made and completed.
The visit by the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, to Ebonyi State is part of the larger engagement with the people of Southeast on the inclusiveness and implementation of the renewed hope agenda in the zone. In Abakaliki, Caleb Obona, NTA News.
And elsewhere, Minister of Steel Development Shuaibu Abubakar Audu has reaffirmed federal government's strong commitment to fast-tracking the revival of Ajaokuta steel plant and other legacy steel assets in the country. This renewed pledge was made at the closing of the National Steel Summit held in Abuja. Ekene Undulwe reports.
It is day 2 of the National Steel Summit in Abuja. Stakeholders from across the industry are engaging in intensive discussions, searching for lasting solutions to revive Nigeria's struggling steel sector. Key recommendations center on the revival of the Ajaokuta steel plant. For the Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, the time for promises is over. It is time for action. He announced plans to develop and launch a national strategic action plan for the steel and metallurgical sector.
Within the next 12 months, we will conclude the technical and financial framework, which is the technical and financial audit for the phased completion of Ajaokuta and the restoration of NIOMCO operations, starting with production-ready units. We would launch the National Steel Policy Implementation Framework and push for the enactment of the Metallurgical Industry Act.
If you look at the big buildings everywhere in the world, what is holding them? Steel. And there is no way this country can import that amount of steel that I have just mentioned. We cannot import it. We must build locally.
As the summit draws to a close, stakeholders are living with renewed hope and determination to reposition the steel industry as a key driver of national development. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
On security, the Nigerian Army War College's leadership is harnessing alumni networks with a view to proffer a forward-looking approach to national security development. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluede, made this known at a lecture on strategic value of alumni networks in national security development. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
20 years, the strategic value of alumni networks has gained prominence in shaping national security architecture, particularly in Nigeria. Recognizing this, the Nigerian Army War College has taken a pivotal role in organizing and leveraging its alumni to address the nation's evolving security challenges.
These alumni remain a reservoir of strategic knowledge, operational experience, and institutional wisdom that must be harnessed for national development and regional stability.
This event marks a significant milestone in the life of the college and reflects our collective commitment to sustaining professional relationships, institutional excellence, and national service.
By institutionalizing its alumni network, the Army War College has created a platform for continuous engagement, knowledge sharing, and collaborative problem-solving mechanism.
It is a deliberate and timely step toward institutional memory, strategic continuity, and the building of a professional network anchored on shared values, experiences, and vision.
Or some of them are coming back, you bridging the gap by helping in organizing certain exercises that will bring in the shortfall.
These professionals, many of whom had held strategic positions in defense, intelligence, and policymaking, contribute to national security not just through their individual capacities, but also by mobilizing collective experts. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
On court proceedings, an effort by a convicted civil servant in Kogi State to overturn the death sentence handed down on him by the High Court of Kogi State has failed. Olabode Arewa reports that the Court of Appeal, Abuja Division, has ruled that, indeed, Dauda Ibrahim had a hand in his daughter's abduction and murder for ritual purpose.
On 3rd August 2022, 14-year-old Sharif Ibrahim, a daughter of Kogi State-based civil servant Dauda Ibrahim, was abducted at night from her father's home and murdered for ritual purpose. Upon police investigations, it was discovered that her father must have conspired with 2 associates to commit the crime, leading to his conviction and sentencing to death for murder by the High Court of Kogi State. The convict approached the Court of Appeal to appeal against his conviction. The 3-man panel of justices, led by Justice Okonabang, observed that the appellant's actions before, during, and immediately after his daughter was kidnapped in his presence showed that he must have facilitated the kidnapper's entry into his house for the crime.
The way the court came out with in its considered ruling, but in any case, that is the judgment of the court. We also intend to appeal against it.
His associate, Issa Adamu, was also sentenced to death for the same offense, while a 3rd defendant, Adda Yusuf, is still at large. The appellate court held that murder for ritual purpose must be discouraged in the society. From the Court of Appeal, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
The gavel has fallen on the 3rd and final public hearing into alleged misconduct in the Nigerian Correctional Service, and the last day has been all about money, fines, and fairness. Victor Azu reports.
From the cost of freedom to the cost of feeding, the panel heard it all. Correctional service officials flagged what they see as imbalance, fines that some can pay in hours but leave the poor behind bars.
While it provides flexibility in sentencing, it also raises concerns about inequality and the potential for unequal treatment before the law.
The panel's secretary, Dr. Uju Agomo, called it a waste to keep inmates in custody for minor offences instead of using non-custodial options.
Somebody that was given a fine of 10,000 naira or 1 year imprisonment, calculate the fee for that period. Just think of it, how much the federal government pays on food.
And from the Legal Aid Council to the NBA, the worry was compensation that lingers, even after fines are settled.
Sometimes we find out that a person is given the option of fine of about 10,000, but there's a huge compensation of about 9 million, 1 million, 1.5, or thereabouts. And some of the NGOs, their budgets may not be able to accommodate that.
Someone does not need to be in custody to be able to pay the compensation. So there should be a mechanism for ensuring that every compensation is paid.
3 hearings done. The recommendations now head to the Ministry of Interior, and the wait for implementation begins. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Now, addressing poverty, insecurity and inequality in Nigeria depend largely on effective service delivery and democratic practice at the local government levels. This was the consensus of stakeholders at a roundtable on the implementation of Zaria Declaration on Local Government Autonomy organized by the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC. Mohammed reports.
With the theme, Strengthening Local Governance in Nigeria, what next after Zaria Declaration seeks to consolidate advocacy momentum and facilitate a strategic multi-stakeholder approach to local government autonomy in Nigeria.
There's need for civil society to begin to focus their attention on local governance in Nigeria.
So in the real sense of it, do you really have traditional rulers? Maybe you call them traditional civil servants.
We need to amend the tax schedule of the Constitution and so many other clauses of the Constitution that empower the states to do away with local government resources. That's if not, you create, in fact, that is what is bringing a lacuna or delay in the implementation of the Supreme Court judgment.
So as much as we think of how local government can begin to get these monies, sent to them directly, we should also think along the line of putting in place mechanisms to ensure that these resources are not abused or they are not carted away by those who manage the resources at that level.
Papers presented dwells on translating the Supreme Court ruling on the local government autonomy into practice, promoting roles of traditional institutions and civil society organizations in strengthening local governance. It is suspected that the outcome will build a new foundation of governance that works for the people from the bottom up. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Awal Yusuf Jibo in our Lagos studio continues with the news presentation at this point. Hello, Awal.
Thank you, Nolin, and welcome to Lagos. Nigerian Academy of Letters is to leverage the expertise of its members to proffer solutions to some of the teething problems the nation is grappling with, especially the identity and value system. These are some of the issues in the front burner at the 27th convocation and investiture of new fellows of the Academy at the University of Lagos. Joel Popola reports that the 11th president of the Academy, Professor Andrew Haruna, formally took over the helm of affairs at the event.
the Nigerian Academy of Letters, a body of intellectuals in the arts and humanities, has been in the forefront of the nation's development, and this investiture is to expand the horizon of the body, a task the new president, Professor Andrew Aruna, has to execute over the next couple of years. With the investiture of these 31 new members, 13 fellows and honorary members, which include the Obi of Onitsha, Igwe Alfred Nnemeka Achebe, the Nigerian Academy of Letters now has the numerical strength and a more robust intellectual prowess to make positive changes in tandem with its mandates.
The aim, my main task, is to see how Nigerians can really look inwards, identify themselves, and see how they can regenerate and maintain their identity.
We have a responsibility to ensure that different aspects of humanities are promoted, the quality improved.
The keynote speaker and stakeholders agreed that the theme, Humanities in the Modern Digital World, and the topic of the convocation lecture will reposition arts, humanities, and social science for the ongoing re-engineering. The 11th president of the Nigerian Academy of Letters received the baton of leadership with a charge to continue to uphold the legacy of the intellectual body.
We live with him. At time he is vice chancellor of the University of Gashua. He had good interaction with traditional institutions.
Priority should be on how to promote and develop our own culture.
With the investiture, a new developmental agenda has been set for the new president, Professor Andrew Aruna, and the consensus is that he is equal to the task, having served as Vice President of NAUS and current Secretary General, Committee of Vice Chancellors. In Lagos, Joel Ukwola, NTA News.
The Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeni, has handed over seized items including one Smith & Wesson pistol, cartridges of ammunition, and prohibited drugs to relevant agencies. The Comptroller General says the move underscores the Customs' commitment to curbing illicit arms proliferation and enhancing national security, while also preventing smuggling of expired pharmaceuticals and other contraband.
The phase of Colorado.
The entry of these products into the market would have circumvented a breach of Nigeria's import regulations, compromising the protection of local industries and ensuring national security measures. 5 suspects were arrested by customs from the Apapa Area Command in connection with the seized items, which include 16 containers laden with prohibited drugs, expired medicament, food, infringed branded products, among others, with duty-paid value worth over 10 billion naira.
We had observed over a year ago about the discerning increase in the importation of fake pharmaceuticals that are not registered, and that's why we have also put up that onslaught to ensure that we arrest them wherever they are.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Customs Service Seme Area Command also intercepted 5 trucks loaded with 2,800 bags of foreign rice with duty-paid value of 919,500,626 naira.
The federal government of Nigeria has placed ban on importation of rice through the land border to protect our rice farmers and millers and reduce dependency on imported rice.
The Comptroller General says Nigeria Customs, with the support of strategic partners, is committed to promote professionalism, trade facilitation, and collaboration, which will in turn balance security enforcement with economic growth, as well as keep delivering uncompromising enforcement backed by intelligence to detect and seize prohibited items. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
And those are the contributions from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Salamutu in Kaduna after the break. Do stay.
In Kaduna. For years, the people of Karatudu, the reconstruction of their roads to link them to the metropolis. The cry has finally been listened to as the 13-year-old abandoned road project now takes shape. Muhammad Umarajingi completes this report.
This is Romi Karatuduru, expected to connect several communities here, but it has been left in disrepair. Emmanuel, a long-time resident, says the daily struggle of passing through this road has defined life here.
This road has been like this for over 14 years, and the people of Romi, Karatudu, all these axes have been suffering this for over 14 years, this neglect.
But the struggle may soon be over, as the Kaduna State government.
Well, we are sorry for the signal failure from our Kaduna studio with Salamatul Lukman Mohammed. And let's continue the news from Abuja. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, has assured the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the readiness of his ministry to support ongoing drug control efforts by NDLEA, especially in the areas of creating alternatives for illicit drug producers and provision of agricultural opportunities for drug users undergoing rehabilitation to prevent them from relapse. Senator Kyari gave the assurance when Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, led some members of his management team to a meeting with the minister and top officials of the ministry in Abuja. The visit seeks collaboration between NDLEA and the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security as part of ongoing efforts to surmount the challenges of drug scourge facing the country, as well as find alternative solutions for cannabis growers across the country. Marwa noted that out of the 14.3 million drug users in Nigeria, 10.6 million of them abuse cannabis alone, making the psychoactive substance the most commonly abused in the country. The weather condition in Ondo State in recent weeks aligned with warnings by the Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, on extreme cold and rainfall in the state. The extreme cold weather condition is now a thing of concern to residents, as climate and medical experts advised them to take precautionary measures to guard against its impact on health and food production. Paul Omukago tells us more.
Popularly known as the Sunshine State, for close to 1 month is without the bright rays of sunlight that comes with intense heat. While it is not completely unexpected, considering the fact that this period is the peak of the rainy season, the concern for residents here is the impact of the cold atmosphere all through the day, with intermittent light rainfall, which at times could lead to heavy downpour. This condition, according to an agro-climatologist, has some level of impact on food production, particularly on livestock farming. With no immediate insight as to when the extreme cold condition will end, a medical expert says there is need for residents to be intentional and deliberate on their dressings and lifestyles at this period.
We apologize for the loss of audio in Paul's report there, and we shall now be joining him live in Akure, who will tell us more on how the current weather condition has impacted human health and food production. All right, Paul, are you on the line? All right, Paul is here. Can we hear your submission on this? All right, it appears Paul cannot hear us at this moment, let's continue. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Nasarawa State has cautioned politicians over premature campaigns in the state ahead of the 2027 general elections. The resident electoral commissioner, Shehu El-Wahab, handed down the caution at a stakeholders meeting on the forthcoming continuous voter registration. Bilkisu Gurku reports.
Event with the theme Continuous Voter Registration, Roles and Expectations from Stakeholders had representatives of political parties, civil society organizations, security agencies, the media and other key players in the democratic process. The resident electoral commissioner, Shehu El-Wahab, said the continuous voter registration will begin on Monday, 18th August 2025, with online pre-registration, while 25th August 2025 is for in-person registration, calling on eligible voters to avail themselves to ensure that their names are on the voters' register ahead of the 2027 elections. The resident electoral commissioner lamented on how campaign posters by various candidates of political parties are all over the state, which he said is violating the Electoral Act.
Aspirants are not allowed, political parties are not allowed at this time to begin campaigns. What is taking place presently runs foul of the law.
Presenting papers, the head of Department Electoral Operations, Saleh Al-Mahmoud, head of ICT, Zukogi Muhammad Abubakar, and Safia Garba, who is the head voter education and publicity, spoke extensively on the process and procedures of participating in the continuous voter registration without breaching the Electoral Act. The state coordinator, National Orientation Agency, Augustine Akwedoma, State Commandant, Nigeria Civil Defense Corps, Muhammad Kabiru Ngawa, Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Adamu Ninge, other speakers said there is need for the Commission to expedite action to ensure wider coverage during the exercise. In Lafia, Bilkisu Umar Gurku, NTA News.
From Lafia, we bring you to Abuja, where the Social Democratic Party, SDP, expects its candidates to be on ballot papers and be voted for in the by-elections holding on Saturday, August 16, 2025, in various constituencies in 12 states across Nigeria. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary of SDP, Rufus Ayenigba, indicates that the Federal High Court ruled in favor of the party in a suit it filed against INEC for the non-listing of its candidates in the list published by the Commission. Considering the merits of SDP arguments, the court has ordered the Electoral Commission to accept the candidates of the party for the by-elections and publish and ensure the names appear on the election materials for the polls come Saturday, 16 August. All right, now I'm told that Paul is ready for us in Akure to talk to us more on the current weather condition that has impacted human health and food production. Paul, it's over to you now.
Thank you. In Akure, the Ondo State capital, the weather has been very, very cold. And the extreme cold has led to a lot of residents taking proactive steps to take care of themselves by ensuring that they keep themselves warm almost throughout the day. Whether it rains or not, the weather has been very cold. That's now. And, we discovered that the cold weather has impact and is responsible for ailments like flu, of course, malaria too, because with intermittent rain also falling, it creates room for breeding of mosquitoes within environments that are not well clean. Then also for those into livestock farming particularly, farmers and livestock farmers particularly, we understand that they need to keep their livestock in a very warm environment, particularly those into poultry farming. And it has led to some kind of interface between the farmers and veterinary doctors more regularly than not. That is the situation here in Akure.
All right, Paul, one more question. What are experts saying that residents of Akure should do, to keep themselves away from the health implication of this?
Yes, they've told them, just like part of the COVID-19 protocol, there is need for people to be using nose masks because sneezing by somebody who has flu may actually affect people. I understand it's very contagious. And of course, also on their own part, particularly the elderly people, they were advised to ensure that they take warm water baths and also ensure that they wear thick clothing. Even putting on stockings at night, those long hose were part of the advice given to them. Those that are into this commercial transportation, particularly cyclists, they were advised also to ensure they are well kitted.
Safe over there. Let's continue. African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development and Critical Stakeholders in the Promotion of Gender-Based Issues have established a male feminist network for zonal partners to highlight and promote the progress of women in the country. This was during an elaborate session that brought together key players and focused on the role of men in bridging the wide gap in all fronts, including rights to election, governance, digital representation, maternal health, which currently suffer huge setbacks. The session inaugurated zonal partners to assist in amplifying voices of vices against women folk, the campaign of hope and positive change.
Supporting gender equality and women empowerment and contributing to a society where women and girls can thrive.
Feminism is not just a woman's issue, it is a human rights issue. We aim to create safe spaces for reflection, education, and collective action.
The Male Feminist Network is a platform to nurture a new masculinity rooted in empathy, accountability, equity, reject violence, domination, and silence, as well as supports inclusive leadership. Lanre Idowu is in our Ibadan studio to present more reports for us on Nationwide. Hello, Lanre. It's over to you.
To see you, Nolin, and welcome to Ibadan, the cradle of television broadcast in Africa. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Oyo State says it has taken custody of all sensitive and non-sensitive materials needed for the conduct of the by-election in Ibadan North Federal Constituency. Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC, Oyo State, Dr. Rahman Tella, said this during a media briefing at the headquarters of the Commission in Ibadan. Correspondent Oyeyinka Omoli reports.
Briefing the media on the preparedness of the Commission towards a seamless conduct of the by-election in Ibadan North Federal Constituency, Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC, Oyo State, Dr. Rahman Tella said the Commission has perfected arrangements with all members of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, ICES, participating political parties, and all other necessary stakeholders with assurances of maximum cooperation received.
There are also going to be restriction of movement, which will commence 12 midnight as follows. Sango Eleyele Akwete Jokodu, Bere Oje Odoye, Makola axis, Adamasiba axis, UI Agbowo and Agbowo Express, Gate Basharun Ashi.
Participating media houses in the election were told to avoid bias fake news and misinformation in their reportage of the by-election on Saturday. The resident electoral commissioner used the opportunity to announce commencement of another round of continuous voter registration exercise for 2025 to 2026 sessions ahead of the forthcoming 2027 general elections. The commission, however, clarified that the new voter registration exercise will not be applicable in the Saturday's by-election in Ibadan. Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has engaged social media influencers, bloggers, and other online handlers to address challenges of fake news, misinformation, and other social media contents that undermine the national security. Again, correspondent Oyeyinka Omole reports that this was at the 42nd edition of Social Media Seminar in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital.
Following the misuse by some youths to spread unverified content resulting in fake news that undermined their personal and national security, the Nigerian Army, through its Civil Military Affairs Department, gathered the youths to address the menace. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede represented, appreciated the contributions of the youth to national security, and described the seminar as one of the ways the Nigerian Army is harnessing digital potentials towards achieving national security objectives.
Therefore, urge you all participants to neither engage in nor support malicious use of social media platforms, especially on issues of national security.
Chief of Civil Military Affairs called on the youth to use the social media tools positively and avoid divisive tendencies.
This edition, themed Promoting National Security Through Responsible Online Engagement, seeks to enhance a collaborative approach in achieving our collective goal of safeguarding our national security.
The youths were further counseled to imbibe positive advocacy through social media for enhanced national security. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
And those are the trending reports from Ibadan at this hour. Nationwide continues with Susan at our Makurdi Network Center after this break. Stay tuned.
Join us on Reshaping Democracy, a groundbreaking program on the network service of the NTA, where citizens get the chance to ask ministers, heads of ministerial departments, agencies, and other top government officials questions on their performance and delivery of mandates. With no sector of limits, conversations build around bridging communication gaps for feedback and effect as our guests engage with the people they serve.
How does ND foster partnerships with organizations, government agencies, NGOs, among others?
As our leaders give account to citizens' inquiries on good governance, tune in to Reshaping Democracy.
Abuja or nationwide, we're sorry we're not able to join Makurdi because of weather condition. All right, moving on. The Federal Road Safety Corps has officially welcomed a fresh group of celebrity special marshals, a move aimed at ramping up campaigns and boosting public awareness on road safety across the country. Among the honorees is NTA's very own Oyeyemi Ajayi.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has worked tirelessly to keep Nigerian roads safe, using every possible avenue to spread the message. Beyond the popular road safety clubs in schools, there is also the special marshals, all part of the strategy to make sure the road safety message reaches even the most remote communities.
We celebrate not only the energy and potential for our young people, but also their critical role in shaping a safer and more sustainable future for our nation.
The unveiling of this new team of celebrity special marshals is expected to add a big push to the cause. These are influential figures from various walks of life, people with voices and actions that inspire many to join the fight against road crashes across the country.
We'll continue to create awareness about road safety, responsibilities, and also the importance of being a responsible driver, being a responsible passenger, and also looking out for those in your immediate community.
We intend to use our social media platform, our wide range of connections, and also our people relation to ensure that we have more youths alive.
I will continue to use the Pidgin English, which is a language for every Nigerian, to tell the people out there about how to drive safe.
What this means simply is that more responsibilities have been bestowed on me. More work still needs to be done in terms of talking to people about the need for road safety.
We decided that everybody must be carried along, and that's why we are coming up with this.
The event was part of this year's Road Safety Youth Hangout with the theme Safer Roads, Brighter Future, Youth Leading the Change.
Congratulations to our Oyemi and Odiria Oboru Arutere. Lagos State's Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is calling for the creation of a unified, adaptable and enforceable building codes to curb the growing menace of building collapses across Nigeria. The governor was speaking at a stakeholders engagement hosted by the Lagos State Office of Urban Development in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. Joken Abakweya reports.
Collapse in Lagos and across Nigeria have claimed lives, destroyed property, and raised questions about construction standards. While Lagos has recorded fewer cases in the past year, stakeholders say more must be done to keep structures safe and sustainable.
I encourage us to create in purpose solutions and unite in our commitment.
That was the focus at a stakeholders engagement organized by the Lagos State Office of Urban Development and the State Building Control Agency in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development.
We all have to be vigilant, and we need to bring ourselves together to talk to ourselves, properly, so that we can understand what we need to do.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu urged collective action from professionals in the built environment, stressing ethical integrity, zero negligence, and the need to ensure every building in Lagos is safe and livable.
No one should endorse or supervise a project that does not meet the safety standards and institutions that will be put forward to ensure that we can control and monitor at all times.
Under the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is fully committed to ensuring that safety and structural integrity become non-negotiable principles in Nigeria's building sector.
The event themed Incessant Building Collapse in Nigeria. The need for strict adherence to building codes and regulations also saw the launch of the Certified Accreditors Program, an initiative aimed at strengthening compliance with building standards across the state. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakpuya, NTA News.
In other news, nations remain divided on how to curb plastic production, with no agreement in sight as UN Plastic Pollution Treaty talks enter final day, threatening progress on a landmark global pollution agreement. Charles Alpha has been following proceedings at the UN office in Geneva.
Negotiators working on a treaty to address global plastic pollution discussed a new draft of the text on Wednesday that wouldn't limit plastic production or address chemical use in plastic products. Talks stalled just one day before they are due to end after countries with very divergent views expressed disappointment with the draft. When they converged on Wednesday night, Colombia's delegation said that the text was entirely unacceptable because it was unbalanced and lacked the ambition and global obligations needed to end plastic pollution. The delegation said that it wouldn't accept the wordings of the basis for negotiations. Many delegations made statements to agree.
If we continue as we are under business as usual scenario, plastic production is set to triple, and we have to make a gear change. That is why we are here.
Now, it is up to all of us, especially the member states whose delegations are involved in these negotiations, to turn these tools into concrete results.
The new provisions seek to reduce the number of problematic plastic products that often enter the environment and are difficult to recycle. More than 400 million tons of plastic are produced globally each year, according to reports, and half of which is for single-use items, with nearly half, or 46%, ending up in landfills, while 17% is incinerated and 22% is mismanaged and becomes rubbish. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Next on Nationwide is a sports update with Gift George as our guide.
Team Nigerian athletes to take part at the Confederation of Africa Athletics Senior Championship in Ghana have intensified training at the Yaba College of Technology, Lagos. The Nigerian team are hoping to qualify for the relay event of the World Athletics Championship taking place in Tokyo, Japan from August 18th to 19th, 2025. The team, which is being guided by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria technical crew led by Solomon Aliyu, is working daily towards getting one of the relay tickets for the Athletics Championship, and the athletes have vowed to do everything humanly possible to get their targets. Nigerian Women's Football League Premier League champions, Bayelsa Queens, have been drawn in Group B in the 2025 West Africa Zone B Women's Champions League qualifiers. The draw for the 5th edition of the CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers was conducted in Côte d'Ivoire. Bayelsa Queens will rekindle old rivalry with Ghana Police Ladies in the group stage in Group B. Others in the group are ASCO of Togo and Semnelli of Benin Republic. The Nigerian champions, the Prosperity Girls, are the first Nigerian team to participate in the tournament twice. To grassroots football, all is set for the 7th edition of the 5-Star Premier League, which kicks off this Saturday in Lagos. The competition is a grassroots football tournament which will feature 32 teams. The league, which is known as the Big Seven, aims to develop young talented footballers from various communities in Lagos and Abuja. It creates a platform where the players will be showcased to top clubs in Nigeria and beyond.
Focusing on giving opportunities to underrepresented. Not everybody will play in the MPFL, NLO, NNL. So this is just a platform where you can have the opportunity to showcase your talents and skills as a grassroots player, and then gives you the opportunity to get to the next level.
The Lagos leg of the tournament is scheduled for the Middle Hall this Saturday, August 16th, 2025. With Sports Update, Gift George, NTA News.
The sports update there concludes Nationwide today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Norlene Ebel Ame. Enjoy the rest of your evening.